Uh-huh.
That's right.
Like biscuits.
Straight out of the oven.
Gobble damn cookies up, yo.
Word.
Gotta have them bickies.
Cookie Monster rates us. G'day. It's Chris.
And it's Glen. Welcome back, folks. We are here at Life Biscuits HQ.
Woo. Yeah, we're here with snack-sized wisdom with life-sized impact. And today we are looking at Compass, biscuit number 4.
Biscuit 4.
Yeah. But to recap, big thank you again. Look, downloads are coming in, and I'm loving the new downloaders. Thank you to the 3 from the USA. Loving it. Loving having you guys on board. Hopefully it spreads out there. And the guy or gal from the Netherlands.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
Awesome. We're almost at 400, so we'd love you to keep tuning in. And we're going to pretty much ask you to first please subscribe to our email list. You can do that at lifebiscuits.com on the sidebar there. Or you can also check out Facebook, and we've got a link to our subscription service. That's a 1-minute read. We're looking at a bit of a growth point.
Real quick.
A quote and an action point for you. So we hope you enjoy that. Tonight's episode will probably get up a little bit late, so sorry for those people who are eagerly sitting by the phones waiting for it to rock onto Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It's going to be a little bit late tonight, but bear with us. All right, Wowie. Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
Compass.
So Compass is really about the direction. It's the biscuit that's going to help us direct us to where we want to be. And we've used Compass specifically because we think that life is a journey. You know, we talk about destinations. Life, the entire journey of life is the journey, right? And the destination eventually is death. Like for me and for everybody else,
100,
after 100, that's the goal. You know, we talk about longevity and condition. We want to keep kicking on until the end, all right? And I hopefully in my bed saying goodbye to my dog.
We've only got one shot.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
As Eminem said, we only got one shot. Do not miss your chance.
And we need to have that compass to really guide us.
Sure.
So we have an acronym for you, again, to help you remember those key aspects that we think will really help you guide you along your journey that is life to the final destination that is death. And we hope death is a long, long way away.
We do. But remind me later to talk about that. The fact that, obviously for anyone, it might not be a long way away. And how can we still use our compass in the here and now?
All right. To kick us off, TRIP.
That is the acronym.
That is the acronym. And our T stands for True North.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you think of a compass, obviously navigates itself to magnetic north?
Yeah, magnetic north. And true north and magnetic north are slightly different, but in the sense they're in the most general direction of that is north. Yeah.
And obviously we're using this as a metaphor. And so everyone's true north will be different. Mm-hmm. My true north will be different from yours. And today we're going to be trying to ask you in this T part of the TRIP acronym, like, let's find out yours. Yeah. Let's get to work. Like, if we've only got one shot at this bad boy, and we know that it might end soon for us, hopefully not, hopefully 100.
Exactly.
But if it might end soon, then how can we still use this compass to head in true north right here, right now? So, we have a Life Biscuits approach to figuring out your purpose. It's as we know, it's a journey. Mm-hmm. And it can change, it can evolve. Like, that's the beauty of almost everything in life, is that we change, we evolve as we go through, and we can decide in any moment to take certain courses of action. But do you want to run us through the first point of our kind of Life Biscuits purpose strategy?
So for purpose, our first section is really finding out what your passion is, all right? And if we can find out what our passions and interests are, right, then we have a sort of direction or general idea of what we want to kind of do. And we can meld those and add those together with the other aspects of this Life Biscuit little organizer strategy to help you find out what your true north is.
Yep.
And we, in previous Biscuits, specifically Cultivate, have talked about journaling. Right? We talked about it in our blog post. You guys need to start writing down what are the things that interest you, what are you nerding out on, things that you're interested in, so that you can get that passion.
The things that light your fire, so to speak. You've heard that term before, and I think it's a great one because, you know, it just gives that concept of I'm on fire for something and I'm burning with passion for this certain thing. A really simple way, like as you said, let's get a dedicated page or more in our journal to just write stuff down, things that you love, things that you like. And again, you can cross it out. It doesn't have to be super neat. Cross it out, add, expand on things. Like, just if you think, oh, I love that. Yeah. Write it down.
Yeah. They don't have to even be connected. Like, they could just be things that you're like, well, that's pretty cool. That's really interesting. It's not things that you just have to love, but things that you just find intriguing, interesting.
Kevin Hall wrote a book called Aspire, which in that he refers to this strategy of, and this is a really simple one that I have used myself and I've used with the staff at school, and people have found it beneficial. And that is, if you're struggling with this whole concept of writing heaps of stuff down about the things that you love, what is one word that you want to define or describe you?
Compassion.
And then be that word. And we'll talk about this a little bit later in instrument check when we go through something, and the I acronym just gave you a little
teaser.
But
smack my lips, that's tasty.
You know, I had two when I went through this. It said choose one. Well, I had two. One was encourager and one was inspiration. So that's what I want to kind of define me, is I want to inspire, you know, the kids that I teach and that sort of thing, and my own kids to want to be better. And I also want to, you know, just be a relentless encourager of people. And I don't mean empty encouragement like you are
meaningful,
good, but filling them with courage to pursue their purpose, you know, encouraging, if I can split the word up a little bit like that. So there's a quick one that you could figure out yourself. You know, you said yours is compassion, and you can use that as a reference point.
Yeah. The next section of this little Life Bickies organizer for your true north is strengths. And we find that if you can figure out what you're really good at, your strengths, then we can apply that, join that in, mold it in together to really help you find that true north. Things that you usually love, you're usually kind of good at. And it's not always true. Like Glenbo, you used to be...
I used to play the drums. Yep. Look, I loved it.
Yeah.
But I was no good, to be honest. I could play a few beats and whatnot, but in terms of keeping time and in terms of knowing my music and all that sort of thing, like I came to the conclusion that, you know, I'd watch other people at church, the other drummers, and I'm like, I'm clearly the worst. And purely... I mean, I could have just worked hard and worked hard, but it didn't light my fire enough to control that part of my ethic. Yeah.
But if it's a strength that does light your fire and that you're really passionate about and you're nerding out about it, right, add those to that journaling process. Sure. Figure out what you're really good at. If you're dedicating a significant portion of your life to a certain pursuit, all right, it's got to be something that we're kind of good at, right?
Yeah. And I mean, grow it.
And even if it's not exactly where you want it to be, there's room for improvement for everybody. Everybody should be with that growth mindset, trying to get better, trying to do better, trying to
find
be
out
better.
Different ways. You know, get in touch with people who are a step ahead of you in that strength. Learn from them. Watch videos. Read books about it. Talk to people about it. Get a mentor in that area. Like, harness your strengths. So that's the sort of second point of our Life Bickie strategy on figuring out your purpose. The third one, which is often overlooked, is belief.
Yeah.
Do you believe in yourself to be able to, like, not restrict what you're going to be capable of doing? I think that's super important because we're in this sort of culture, and we see it as teachers with low confidence, low self-esteem. And if I only see myself, as if I don't believe in myself, and my vision for my life is going to be completely limited.
Exactly.
And I'm not going to have the drive. I'm not going to be able to figure out my passions. I'm not going to have the confidence to build on my strengths or to receive feedback about where I could improve. And so if I see myself as a 2 out of 10, then I'm only going to be able to achieve a 2 out of 10 in relation to my purpose, which I think, we can't go beyond. John Maxwell says in the leadership sector, if your confidence is at a 2, then you can never be a 3 out of 10 leader if you only see yourself as a 2 out of 10 leader. It's just not going to happen. And it's the same with just belief in yourself in general. If you only see yourself as a 2 out of 10, you're not going to achieve a 3 out of 10 in your life. Like, we've got to build ourselves and believe in ourselves.
That you have to be capable of doing that.
For sure.
I think of this like analogy as just been hiking recently, and you might have a destination of where you want to get to, or a direction, like, I want to go this direction. But if you don't have that self-confidence or that belief to be able to move, you're like, man, the pack's too heavy, I'm just too weak, or it's too steep, and you don't have that belief that you can get there. Even if you have the passion, I love hiking, but I'm buggered at the moment. I know where I want to be. But if you don't have that belief, you're never going to get the next step onto your journey. So belief.
Well, I had a similar thing just today. We were at I've been away where there was a pool at the place we were staying, and there was a pretty cool breeze blowing through, and I was a bit chilly. And that first moment of get in the pool, I felt the water, and it's pretty chilly. It's a bit chilly. So I think, and you hesitate on the side of the pool. And what I found to be great, and I experimented with this, was just be tougher, Glenbow. Like, I know I need to get in because my kids are in there. So just be tougher and do it.
I am tougher than my 4-year-old daughter.
Exactly. Well, they don't feel the cold, I swear. But bam, I was in, and I think just that concept of being whatever it needs to be. Do you need to be more confident? Do you need to believe in yourself? Believe in yourself. Do you need to be tougher? Yeah. Do you need to be more resilient? Like, be more resilient. Do I need to be harder about, like, I've mentioned that food is my weakness, and I don't like cooking, and I like getting food that other people prepare
over spice curries.
So I've just got to be better with that and just say, wait a second, I'm better than having to resort to...
And you believe that you can be better.
Exactly.
And we all, I think to a degree, believe that we can be better. I think we have these, like we've mentioned in previously, those self-limiting thoughts, like, but we're so much more capable of what we say than we think we are.
Yeah, for sure.
And you have to just fully believe and realise that. Yep.
Definitely. The last point.
Yes. Contribution. So we really think if we want to have that true north, that the strategy, the Life Biscuit strategy, has to revolve around contributing to others.
Yeah.
There is, in my opinion, no point if it's a self-centered kind of true north. If you're not trying to help other people or contribute to add value or something greater than just yourself, then it's a very shallow and narrow-minded true north or direction that you're wanting to travel in.
Yeah, definitely. It's just the concept of looking out for me.
Yeah.
And I'm going to get mine. I'll hoard away my dollars, and we see that as not cool.
So adding all those together, once you've done some journaling, figured out your passions, your interests, your strengths, what you want to be and what you believe you're capable of, and understanding and finding a way to fit it so that you can contribute to others, add those bad boys together. You got your true north, or some direction that will align to a true north.
Yeah.
We've mentioned it might be different for other people compared to you, and it might be slightly different to, you'll need to fine tune it. You'll need to continue journaling and figuring out, and really learning about what your beliefs are to get it to that true north, not magnetic north, true north.
And I mean, everyone's is going to be different, as we say. And the beauty of being on a trip, and we'll talk about this later in the acronym, is that we can alter the journey. So the last thing I want to talk about with our true north is we've got to have a vision for that future to some degree. Like, and if we use another kind of analogy, if I am in the business of wanting to build a skyscraper, let's pretend the skyscraper is my life, like what I want to kind of build in my life, and the bigger the the more impressive the structure, the more impressive my life. Well, not more impressive, because we're not out to necessarily impress other people, but the more fruitful it's been in contributing to others and making a difference and adding value to those around us. So one, we need the vision of that. Like, an architect you're not just going to start building, right? Like, we've got a clear vision of what we want this life to look like. So that's point one. But then we get into the details in the planning. Like, we've got not only kind of blueprints, we've got builder's plans, which detail down to the very fine nitty gritty about what size screw am I using, and what material is it going into, and what sort of loads is it going to be under, and all this sort of thing. And that's if we think about, well, in that case, I can't just wake up and go about my day. Like, I need to be very clear on what kind of approach am I going to use with this person, and what sort of words do I want to use as, who I've decided to be, and all that sort of thing, and how am I going to use my strength today, and how am I going to grow my strength, and how am I going to increase the belief in myself today with those that I'm going to encounter in my life. So having a vision, which is, your ideal self in 5, 10, 15, 20 years, and hopefully that will look significantly different from where you are now, and what you are now, and who you are now, because if it doesn't look different, then we're not growing.
Yeah, exactly. Before we move on to the next acronym, a couple of additional readings that may interest some of you readers. Know Your Why by Simon Sinek, and the Japanese concept of Ikigai. And we'll just leave it as that.
So start with why.
Start with why, sorry.
Yeah. Let's move on. Very good. So we've done the T. We're on to the R, which stands for review and resolve. Resolve does come up in Life Biscuits quite a bit. I like that word. Yeah. But take us through.
So review, like you've mentioned, and it was a great segue from the architecture design, but the nitty gritty, the things, you've got to be able to review and reflect on how you're going to get to that big skyscraper. You can have this grand plan, and you can know what you want to do. You got your true north, you got your strengths, your belief, all right. But you have to do the necessary steps to get there, and you have to know the details and the minutia. An example that I'll use: adventure racing. Jared and I, my good friend Jared, have signed up for our second attempt at adventure racing because our first attempt was not great. So we signed up for the Max Adventure Race at the Sunshine Coast. And for those who don't know what adventure racing is, it's a tri-discipline orienteering cross cardio event, essentially. So you rock up to this place, and then they give you a map with checkpoints that you have to get to. And then they give you an hour to plan, and then the gun goes off, you kick off, you have to get to those checkpoints, and then race back to the end. And so the team that does it the fastest wins. And there's kayaking, there's mountain biking, and there's trail running involved. And so in the analogy of what is a trip and a journey, you have to be able to go, all right, well, these are the checkpoints that I need to make. These are the disciplines I'll need to have. So I need to have my bike. Yeah, we're transitioning from this location to this location. And so if we can review, right, figure out the nitty-gritty details, plan, and then strategize how we're going to get there, and then execute said plan, we're going to be on our way to completing the journey. And we did not prepare well enough, Jared and I. We rocked back up. We didn't get all the checkpoints. We rocked back up to the car park, and everybody packed up. And the dude was like pulling down the little, you know how they blow up that little starting gate and the finish gate, and you walk through, there's a ribbon, there was no ribbon for us. It was like, no one's clapping. Everybody's packing up. Yeah. So we're signed up for our second attempt at Wild Horse Mountain this year. Hopefully we'll do much better. We've committed to working better, and we're going to review and plan and strategize and execute a little bit better with our grand vision of completing this in the allotted time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if we link that back to our journaling, then the third G of the 3G journaling strategy is a goal. And having that goal in place for that day, or if you journal at night, the next day. How am I planning to move toward true north tomorrow?
Yeah.
And we think that, it's not necessarily the building of your life might be a skyscraper. It might be a clever little tiny house. Like, it doesn't have to be huge, but it needs to be an intricate piece of work. And it's not what it is, it's
how it's built.
Yeah, and how that makes you you. So who are you? And that's what I think, more than any kind of purpose that's grand. And it kind of, to this point, it sounds like we're talking about grand purposes of changing the world. And if that's you, awesome. Yeah. I've got that little fire in me going, yep, I want to change the world, right? But at the same time, for other people, they're like, nah, I'm good with my little life. Yeah. Which is totally awesome. But it doesn't mean that
it's not
who
meaningful,
you are can't be constructed and built upon and impact others and be used to contribute to other people, even in your family and your close friends and all of that sort of thing in your kind of inner circle. So who you are and who you want to be in the future is just as valid and more important than what we might go on to do.
So the second, do you want to get in the second R?
Yeah, so resolve. As I said, we've used this word a bit in Life Bickies and we love it. And it's essentially just commitment. Yeah. And long-term persistence of what you know to be good. Yeah. So I know encouraging others is a good thing, and I know inspiring others will be a good thing because hopefully they can go on and make a contribution. It's kind of that ripple effect. Long-term pursuit of that. I know growing myself is going to be beneficial.
Yeah. And I think if you followed the Life Biscuits strategy, your true north is going to be meaningful enough that your resolve, your why, is going to stick around. Right? Yep. And we know, we talked about knowing the seasons. There's going to be barriers, obstacles that pop up. Murphy's Law happens, I can tell you now.
For sure.
It's never always a simple job.
No.
Things will pop up. But if you have the resolve to be able to push through, the grit, all right, just to understand that the vision, the true north that you've created is the direction that you want to be going in, then the resolve will take care of itself. You'll be able to go, this is what I'm built for. This is what I'm envisioning. I'm going to keep working and chipping away at it.
Yeah. To throw in another R, regret. Like there can't be regrets in your vision for what you want to be. Like we've got to have enough of a why and in who I want to be, so that we can draw upon it to know that if I get to the end and have been heading in this direction of my true north, that there's going to be no regrets. And we know that people who are at the end of their life have huge regrets, and we just don't want to. We don't want to be in that position. So that is a big one. And I think another thing when we talk about what lights your fire earlier, to resolve we need fuel for the fire. We can't run on empty. A fire will burn out without fuel. And so we need to keep knowing where our fuel is coming from and how can I fill up on it. And a great way to do that is support from others, getting around people who are going to encourage you, or not necessarily cutting yourself off, but just being aware of those people who are going to kind of not stoke your fire, but try and put it out. And there will be people like that, and people will do it for different intentions. I think people will try and put out your fire for because they think that it'll protect you, and it's not the right decision for you or whatever, and they'll try and put that out. We need to resolve against that and recognise that. And then other people, just out of malice and jealousy and whatnot, will also try and put that fire out. But then there's going to be people, Howie, who are going to stoke that fire. And who are going to encourage you towards
find those people. Find your co-op,
definitely find the co-op. Get around them. So one book to mention, we mentioned some books earlier on resolve, would be Grit by Angela Duckworth. She's at the University of Pennsylvania. She's the CEO of the Character Lab, which she runs out of there, which essentially, again, similar to my purpose and passion, she's got more of a scientific approach to this, is inspiring young people. And so...
Great read.
Really good book. Can recommend. Please go on and do it. And Grit's all about... I've rated it as one of my kind of top values, so to speak, even though it's a relatively new term, but just that long-term persistence of goals, passion and perseverance combined, is what Grit is all about. And she's done some amazing research on it, and definitely check it out.
If you're a teacher or definitely check it out. There's some very interesting studies and evidence that's come out through her stuff. So moving on to the I of TRIP. So the I stands for instrument check. And as we're going through a journey, we can't continue to just head in a direction and not make sure that we're checking our instruments to make sure that we're staying on track.
For sure.
Excuse me. And you mentioned earlier before about values. And one of our key instruments to check for our TRIP acronym for instrument check is checking our value hierarchy, knowing the values that define us. All right.
What a valuable activity.
Oh, hello.
Sorry, I didn't mean that to be so corny, but super worthwhile activity. And we would totally
recommend that you check out our... We'll post a little blog post up on our website, and you can do our little value hierarchy activity. I think it shouldn't, like for me, when I went through this process, I think it took me maybe 5 minutes to just really narrow down to a select number, and then it got a little bit more difficult. But when I finished with my top 5 values, I was like, this is exactly the kind of person I want to live and be. And move towards exactly. So very, very valuable, as you've mentioned.
Definitely. So keep an eye out for that blog post, and definitely worth doing that activity. Time. I tell you what, time is just super freaky for me. Like, time trips me out.
I mean, we all wish we had more of it, hey? But everybody gets the same in terms of time in a day. You know?
Exactly.
They say Beyonce also gets 24 hours, and you also get 24 hours.
That's it.
And then to a degree, yes, Beyonce can pay for people to cook for her and whatnot. But, it's the same for everybody. And what you invest in your time and how you use it effectively is really important in how you get to your goal, your destination.
Life Biscuits is about, and I mean, one of the realizations that hopefully listeners / readers have understood so far is that we are about harnessing opportunity. The time appointed to each of us offers what we need to shape our legacy.
Yeah.
And legacy is something that, I mean, I think this is what this whole passion purpose thing is about.
Yeah.
Like contribution to others and leaving behind something for the world, whether that's your family world or whether that's the global world, whatever it might be. But opportunity, man, opportunity. Time, they say time is money, but it's not what we can earn in a minute or an hour. But time, it's like money in that we've got the opportunity to elect how we spend it. And how many of us spend it watching mindless TV or spend it just mindlessly scrolling feed. And I know you've dropped Facebook because of that. But we can't begrudge other people. The only difference between, we've spoken about this particular person in the community, and I won't name names, but they're just like, how do they do it?
Yeah.
How do they get it all done? And I don't think it's a big secret. They just do it.
Yep.
They just harness the time. They harness the opportunity. But we'll talk about that sort of concept when we get to our discipline biscuit. But I think when we talk about, if I'm an adolescent listening to this, if I'm a teenager, and I'm thinking, well, I don't know what I want to be, which is cool. I mean, I wanted to be a pilot for my entire life until I pretty much went to, take the test or whatever. Yeah. And they're like, oh, here, take this colorblind test. And I'm like, oh, I'm colorblind. And they're like, okay, well, that's cool, buddy. Your life dream's over now. And I'm like, no. Okay. So, and again, that was what I wanted to be. It wasn't who I wanted to be. But if I'm a teenager listening to this, here's a morbid activity for you. And no, I don't mean to turn this down, but and this could work for other people as well, but write your eulogy.
Yeah.
Now, eulogy is obviously a speech that someone close to you gives when you pass away. And again, morbid idea to think as a teenager that you might pass away, but it does happen. Hopefully not until you're 100. But let's just say it were to happen. We can figure out who we want to be by writing that and then going, well, am I being that person today? If I've written down that my word is great friend or whatever, and I realise that's 2 words, but am I being a great friend?
Yep.
And what's my definition of a great friend? Because some people go, oh, I'm going to look out for my friend because someone they call
she said this about me. I'm going to go pub. Yeah.
But is that contributing to others and the community? We'd say no. So yeah, I think we can build a legacy even in a day by shaping our opportunities and taking advantage of those opportunities and shaping who we want to become. So I just wanted to talk about time just because it's such a wild concept, and I think if we are flippant about time, then we're going to be flippant about other things.
Yep. To the adolescents listening, do not put off your assignments till the end.
And we know you will.
Yeah. A couple of other instruments to check, or did you want to talk about time a little bit more?
No, you go.
We talked about co-op before. All right, your brain's trust. If we're checking instruments and we've checked our value hierarchy, all right, and we've checked our time usage, check your co-op. Like, find the people around you. They will help you keep you accountable, and they'll tell you the truth. If they really got your back, they'll be honest with you, and they'll say, hey, blah 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 blah. All right, and then you'll be able to go, right, yeah, okay, that's not the direction, or it is the direction that I'm wanting to head in towards my true north.
An accountability partner, like having that one person who you trust, and you say to them, I want you to keep me in check on this. Yeah. And then having the confidence and the belief and the trust to accept any feedback you get without any resentment because you've asked for it. Yeah. That's a massive instrument. Yeah. We're in a feedback-rich environment, and if we ignore it all, well, we won't even know where true north is. Yeah. We'll have no compass.
We got blind spots too, hey? So those people will be able to tell you what you're oblivious to.
Yeah, and I mean blind spots. If you haven't looked into blind spots,
get on it.
Yeah, it's basically the things that everyone knows about you, except for you.
Excuse me.
So everyone knows that you do this, but you have no idea. You're just oblivious, going about, and everyone's just like, man, I hate it when Glenn does this, and everyone's like, I reckon, and I'm like, la la la. I've got no idea. So check out your blind spots, or have that person who can fill you in on your blind spots. With that feedback aspect, I mean, if we use the trip kind of analogy, a GPS, if I set my sat nav or my Google Maps or whatever on my phone, it only speaks to me and gives me feedback when I'm moving.
Yeah.
All right, it'll be like turn left here,
Yeah.
turn right there, and if I go the wrong way, it'll be like boom boom, recalculating, and that's cool. We can go a wrong way and it'll recalculate.
Exactly.
If we know our true north, it'll recalculate.
Yeah.
All right, but it's not going to give us any feedback if we're just standing still.
Yeah.
If we're not taking any action, if we're not making any movement, then feedback gone. Like, I'm not going to move in the right direction. I'm going to be stagnant, and my life's going to stagnate, and my relationships are going to stagnate, and I'm not going. So take steps forward, even if it's one step.
Yeah.
You know, or even if it's one press of the accelerator or whatever it is. We've got to do that.
Movement is key. Another thing to check, your environment. We've talked about it previously in the review section of Trip about, you know, the people around you, but also your work environment and other people's attitudes and your own mindset. Are those conducive of your growth or direction to true north?
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, we can, you know, the concept of just, if I surround myself with lots of friends who love Formula One racing, which I do, but let's just say I didn't. But I was just lived in a house, and
that's Formula
4
One
people who I lived with, it was just like, Formula One. Like, the chances are pretty good that I'm going to start getting into Formula One. And we see it a lot. And I mean, parents have probably seen it with their kids. They come across these interests because their friends are into it at school or whatever. You know, and that's just typical of fads and trends and all that sort of thing. They happen because of the environment that we're in. So if you want to be someone who is, you know, a good speaker, good public speaker or whatever, go and find some other people who are practicing their public speaking at lunchtime.
Exactly.
Or, you know, who are in the office doing this, or, you know, go and get around them and fill your environment with that sort of stuff.
So lots of instruments to check. We definitely recommend the value hierarchy and the eulogy activity if you need some sort of instrument check that aligns and helps you figure out if you're on your true north path.
The last point, we're up to the P of Trip, and it is pilot. And to go back to the Formula One analogy, if you drive a Formula One car, you're an F1 pilot. All right, you're a pilot. All right, and you are the pilot of your trip. You're the pilot of your life.
You got to stay in control, hey?
Yeah.
Like, I know you would say the pit crew is your co-op. They're helping you get on your track, make sure you're heading in the right true north direction. But when you realize that you're in control, that you are the pilot, you can essentially just, you know, have that freedom of knowing that you're in control, and you cannot let other things influence your decision. Like, if they're out of your control, all right, then you're liberated in the sense that, I'm focusing on the things that I need to do, and the things that I need to do hopefully align with my hierarchy. They hopefully align with my passion, and they will get me to my true north. We can't just go, so and so was, you know, this particular obstacle or this barrier or whatever has, you know, stymied me, and now I'm stuck. All right, you're the pilot. All right, you can do something about it. You can detour, and life is about some detours, some side trips.
Definitely.
Right, to get around it, or you want to go under it or over it, whatever way. But you're the pilot. Keep moving. Keep going in that general direction of your true north.
Stephen Covey, in The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, his first habit is be proactive. So the first 3 habits are kind of the inner work, you know, the inner game. And essentially be proactive is recognizing that you are the programmer of your life. Like if life was a computer, you're the programmer. Some people have said that you are the author of your life, and often we can hear that and go, how corny, but how true is it? You are you are writing
your story. The world is your oyster.
Yeah.
There's some things to note with being the pilot, right? Like if you're instrumenting, checking, and there's other, like we use the F1 driver. If someone has taken a bad corner, right, and they're in your racing line, what are you going to do, right? You're the pilot. Do you just go, man, they're in my racing line, I'm just going to keep driving because you shouldn't be in my racing line? You're going to have to do something about it, right? And we can't rely on just we've got to have that foresight. Like if people are braking in front of me, right, true north is in that direction, but you will need to adjust and be proactive to avoid a crash.
Foresight is a great word, and again, something that I think we need to definitely be very good at. And that journaling habit's going to help that as well. Practice by practicing our reflection, we can also practice or become better at foreseeing some things where we can be proactive. And one of the biggest things we can be proactive about is our attitude.
Check your attitude.
Yeah. Viktor Frankl, in his book Man's Search for Meaning, says the last of human freedoms is one's ability to choose their own attitude regardless of the circumstances. And I mean, this dude went through concentration camps and whatnot, so he has some credibility to say, wait, I've seen atrocities, I've seen the worst of humankind, and yet if we have a bigger purpose, whether it's I'm going to live for my family and I'm going to, or I want to change the world or whatever it is, then we have the ability to stay the course and resolve and choose our attitude. And I think that's one of the biggest kind of, what do you call it? When you have like a
revelation,
epiphany, I guess, epiphany about life. Wait a second.
Yeah.
Right now, in this moment, I can
Control,
choose my attitude. I've got that choice after something has happened. Before I respond, there is that opportunity in the middle to choose my response and choose my attitude towards it.
A little side note about my boy Aaron Rodgers from the Green Bay Packers, the quarterback. Recently just had an MVP season, and I think he did a lot of meditation. And I remember listening on an interview how he'd really come to terms about how he was choosing the things that he could control with his mindset, and really ignoring the things that were out of his control and just focusing on piloting his growth to help win the Packers another Super Bowl. Didn't happen, but he had an MVP season, and we're on track.
Did he win the MVP?
He did.
Oh, good. Go Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
You are the pilot.
Yeah, definitely. And the last thing that we need to be aware of as the pilot is this concept of self-limiting beliefs, which I think, everyone has to a certain degree. I can't do it, or I'm afraid, I'm scared, or I'll be laughed at, or I'll be judged, or this person won't like it, or I don't have the time to do it, or I don't have the skills to do it, or it's not time yet.
It don't matter as long as it lines to your true north, and if you believe it, right?
We've got to just overcome those.
Yeah, exactly.
Those things to start believing. Yeah. And again, the only way to figure it out and to increase our belief and increase our confidence is to get moving.
Yeah.
We talk about contributing to others. When we start moving, we start contributing to others. If we start moving if you think of, when you throw that pebble into the water.
Yeah, that ripple effect, baby.
Even if it's a tiny little pebble, it's still going to make some ripples. And where do they move? They move out. They move outward towards other places. And if there are people around, then those ripples are going to come across those people and make waves in their life. So I think that's something that we need to recognize as well, is that no matter who we are, to differing degrees, we've got self-limiting beliefs. And some people, it's paralyzing them. Yeah. And it has paralyzed me in the past, trying to work through it and trying overcome it, and particularly, the concept of things not being perfect, but taking steps forward anyway. Like you've just got to start.
The antidote to despair is action, and we've just got to move.
Yep, that's it. Well, that brings us to the end of our TRIP, acronym for compass.
To quickly recap, T, true north. All right, we've got a little strategy. Check it out. All right, know where you want to go. All right, know your passions, your interests, your strengths, your belief, and how you're going to contribute to other people.
Yeah. And also who you want to be. Define who you want to be, whether it's in one word or whether it's in a sentence or whether it's in a vision statement, like the statement of your ideal future and your ideal person and the impact that they're having. Write it down.
Review and resolve is our R. All right, know how you're going to get there, and make sure you have some grit. Resolve and understand that things are going to get in your way, but stick in there. All right, be the person. Yeah, long-term persistent to be the person you want to be.
I wanted to add something there just quickly.
Yeah.
Often it's not, if we have a big goal and a big vision and whatnot, if we're focused on this end product, sometimes we're not going to get there, right? And that's okay. One step is better than nothing. But if, let's say we make it, however far we make it, it's not necessarily getting to that end point.
Like you're not a failure if you don't get to that point, right?
No, exactly. And it's what, and I want to use a Jim Rohn quote here, and I'm just going to say it completely out of context, but it's what it will make of you to achieve it, or almost achieve it, or get on the journey to achieving it. Yeah. So he says it's what it'll make of you to achieve it. So his example is, I want to make $1 million. Okay, cool. Well, you can make $1 million, and that was the goal. Cool, you've achieved it, but it's not making the $1 million. It's what it made of you to achieve that goal. So if I want to lose 50 kilos, if I've got 50 kilos to lose, then it's not the ultimate losing of 50 kilos. It's what it made of me, the discipline that I required and needed to generate in my physical activity, or my training, I should say, and my energizing and all of that sort of stuff. So as soon as we start making these moves in the right direction, it starts making something of us to move in that direction. And I think that's a cool one that kind of just jumped at me there, Lowy, and I wanted to add it in.
Yeah, boy, good one. I is for instrument check. All right, do your value hierarchy. Know the values that you want to live by and who you want to be. Check your surroundings. Check those instruments. Check your time. Check your brain's trust, your co-op.
Remember, time can't be
it can't come back. Yeah, once it's gone, it's gone.
Like you lose money, you can make some again. Yeah, you lose time.
Exactly.
It's gone.
Last one, pilot. P for pilot. You are the pilot. You are in control. All right. How are you going to get moving to the right direction, to your true north? So we're to the dunk now. Hey,
yep, dunk that biscuit.
All right. So, like we've mentioned before, I think the value hierarchy is really a crucial activity that you should do. So
absolutely.
Please check out our little blog post that we'll post up. That's probably the number one thing to do for our dunk. But number two, journaling, figuring out your true north. We talked about the strategy, journaling what your passions, your interests are, figuring out what your strengths are.
Yeah, right? Just start writing down.
Just start writing down. I mean, if you, like when I first started, I just wrote down a vision statement and then molded it from there. So have a crack at doing something, getting something down on paper about what you want to be.
Self-awareness is key to change. I want to throw this one out there. If you've got a family, does your family know what it means to be a part of your family? We've got some little family rules, so to speak. Things like we want to let our light shine, and we want to make sure we are helping others and putting others first. We want to make sure we're always trying our best, and we're trying again, and we want to make sure that we are making mistakes, because we know that we're not going to get better without making mistakes, and it's completely okay to make mistakes. And then we talk about everything as well. So these rules are in place so that when something comes up, we can say, "Oh, but we talk about everything." And we know we put others first, so what's the right thing to do as part of our family?
I've seen the poster you made up. It's really good. It's a little cute poster. It's important to be explicit with what it means to be a Martin.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's something that if it's not explicit, then you can often assume that it's happening,
exactly,
but it might not be. That whole concept of communication, 99% of communication is... No. The problem with communication is that most of the time people think it has occurred when it actually hasn't, or something along those lines. So check it. I think you should probably, if you haven't already, and I know a lot of people have got their family stuff together, then think about sitting down and really creating something that you guys can all agree on.
Yeah, so 3 pretty good activities to help you on your way with Compass. Like we said, it's an evolving process. It can change as you learn more, if you figure out your values and you figure out how you're going to get the action steps to get towards your true north.
Yeah, it's good stuff. And if you find that too hard, come up with one word that you want to define you. And then use that as a reference point every day to check yourself.
Yeah.
Cool.
Ooh, good biscuit.
lifebickies@gmail.com.
Yeah, 2Ks.
2Ks. Remember to sign up to that email newsletter for your snack-sized newsletter.
Check out the blog post for the value hierarchy.
Yeah. Like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. We're up to 12 followers, Larry. That's up 400% since last week. Thanks to my brother, who's liking quite a few of the tweets.
Nice.
We're tweeting. So, good stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and thanks to those USA listeners.
Yeah.
Keep it coming. That'll do it.
That'll do it.
And we will see you next
week for biscuit number 5.
That's it.
Okay.
Peace.
Bye.
Time to go.
So delicious.
I'm feeling full.
Yum yum in my tum tum.
Gotta digest them bickies.